위협을 찍었어. 위협을 진짜.
잘 보셨나요?
너무 멋있었어요. 조심하세요. 조심하세요. 앞에 좀 비켜주세요. 너무 멋있었어요.
혹시 한국에는 없나요?
네?
한국에는 행사 없나요?
조심 조심.
아마 또요.
밀지 마세요. 앞에 비켜주세요. 조심하세요.
Shock. Is there a hidden rivalry between Jungkook and Jimin? Shockwaves ripple through the fandom as whispers grow louder. Is there an unspoken rivalry between Jungkook and Jimin, two of the most adored figures in BTS? The question itself sounds almost unbelievable. For years, the group has been built on unity, trust, and brotherhood. Yet, every new headline, every fan debate, and every viral trend seems to circle back to one unsettling point. Why does Jimin's name keep surfacing whenever Jungkook is in the spotlight? And why does Jungkook's silence about Jimin spark so much speculation? This tension, whether real or imagined, has left fans restless. Some argue it's nothing but media manipulation, while others are convinced there's more behind the curtain. Each time Jungkook makes a solo move, Jimin's presence, or the lack of it, immediately becomes part of the discussion. Every photo, every sighting, every arrival or departure turns into a battleground of narratives. Is this brotherhood still intact, or is a silent rivalry simmering beneath the surface? The drama reached its peak when Jungkook was recently seen arriving in Seoul alone, surrounded by cameras and protective staff. Yet the online conversation refused to stay focused solely on him. Instead, Jimin's name dominated timelines, fueling endless debates. Why is it that Jungkook's every action is measured against Jimin's absence or presence? Is it a coincidence, or has the fandom itself created a rivalry that now feels impossible to ignore? Social media platforms are flooded with comments that reveal just how divided fans have become. Some are protective of Jungkook, claiming he deserves the spotlight without constant comparisons. Others defend Jimin, arguing he cannot control the narrative that spirals around his name. The tension only grows stronger because neither artist openly addresses it, leaving space for fans to construct their own versions of the truth. Silence, in this context, speaks louder than words, and that silence is deafening. Observers point out that the entertainment industry thrives on contrast and conflict. The more divided fans become, the louder the conversations get. And right now, those conversations are electric with speculation. Could it be that the media exploits every minor detail, amplifying harmless coincidences into a narrative of rivalry? Or is there perhaps a deeper reason why Jungkook's spotlight always seems to turn into a debate about Jimin? The psychology of fandom itself plays a major role here. Fans invest deeply in their idols, attaching personal emotions and expectations to their every move. When Jungkook shines, his supporters feel pride but also defend him fiercely against any perceived distraction. When Jimin trends, even unintentionally, another section of the fandom feels he is unfairly taking the stage. The clash is not only between the idols but also between millions of fans who interpret every gesture differently. One cannot ignore the emotional storm this has created. The very idea of rivalry between Jungkook and Jimin triggers feelings of betrayal among those who see BTS as unbreakable. It feels shocking, almost impossible to accept, yet the evidence keeps stacking up in the eyes of many. A missed appearance, a subtle body language, a lack of shared interactions, every detail becomes ammunition for those who believe something is not quite right. But here lies the most haunting question. If there is no rivalry, why does it feel so real? Why does every headline seem to pit Jungkook and Jimin against each other? And if there is rivalry, why is it so carefully hidden, never openly acknowledged? The absence of answers is exactly what makes the discussion so powerful. It is the mystery itself that fans cannot let go of, the silence that feels heavier than any statement could ever be. Each passing week only intensifies the curiosity. Fans analyze airport footage, live broadcasts, and social media posts like detectives hunting for clues. A single word, a single gesture, a single absence can spark days of endless debates. The tension is not just about two individuals. It has become a global spectacle, an ongoing saga of speculation that refuses to fade. What does this mean for the future of BTS as a group, and for Jungkook and Jimin as individuals? Will the narrative of rivalry define them, or will it eventually collapse under its own weight? The shock lies not only in the idea that two beloved idols could be drifting apart, but also in how easily fans and media fuel the fire with nothing more than questions, suspicions, and silences. For now, one truth remains unshaken: the world cannot look away. Every mention of Jungkook drags Jimin into the frame, and every mention of Jimin echoes back to Jungkook. Rivalry, real or imagined, has become the shadow they cannot escape. The suspense is unbearable, the questions unending, and the drama unstoppable. And until something changes, one shocking question will linger above all. Is there truly a hidden rivalry between Jungkook and Jimin? Or is the silence itself the answer we fear the most? The speculation refuses to die down. With each passing day, the idea of a hidden rivalry between Jungkook and Jimin becomes not just a question whispered among fans, but a headline dominating conversations worldwide. What makes this situation so explosive is not merely the possibility of conflict, but the undeniable evidence of tension, small, subtle, and carefully hidden, yet powerful enough to keep millions on edge. When Jungkook makes a solo move, fans expect the focus to remain solely on him. Yet somehow, Jimin's name slips into the conversation almost instantly. When Jimin makes a public appearance, Jungkook's shadow looms close behind. This cycle repeats endlessly, leaving the impression that their identities, no matter how distinct, are locked in a constant state of comparison. The world cannot see one without measuring him against the other. And this is where the fire begins to burn. Critics argue that the narrative of rivalry has been constructed by outsiders, by media outlets hungry for drama, and by fans who thrive on emotional storytelling. But even the most rational observers admit that the timing of certain events feels far too coincidental. Jungkook's solo campaigns ignite, and suddenly Jimin trends. Jimin steps into the spotlight, and questions about his bond with Jungkook dominate the discourse. Is this truly just coincidence, or is it a carefully woven dance between silence, presence, and absence? The emotional weight of this speculation is immense. For fans who grew up seeing BTS as a family, the thought of discord between Jungkook and Jimin feels almost like betrayal. This is not simply about two men navigating careers. It is about the collapse of an image that millions cling to for comfort and inspiration. And that is why every minor detail feels monumental. A glance avoided, a word unsaid, a seat left empty, all of it becomes proof to those who believe in rivalry. Observers have also noted the role of body language. In public settings, every gesture is scrutinized. If Jungkook appears distant, it is seen as rejection. If Jimin seems quiet, it is framed as tension. The human instinct to search for meaning in silence fuels the narrative further. Silence becomes louder than words. Absence becomes more powerful than presence. It is this vacuum of confirmation that keeps the debate alive, because uncertainty is the most powerful spark of all. The global nature of BTS magnifies this situation. A rumor whispered in Seoul travels instantly to Los Angeles, London, or Sao Paulo. Within minutes, millions engage, dissect, and argue. Rivalry between Jungkook and Jimin is no longer just a fandom issue. It has become a global phenomenon of speculation, a cultural storm that transcends borders. And the more people discuss it, the more real it feels, regardless of whether it exists. Behind all of this lies an uncomfortable truth. Rivalry is not always about hatred. Sometimes it is about comparison, about being forced into a spotlight you never asked for. Jungkook and Jimin may not harbor animosity toward each other, but the very structure of fame places them side by side in every evaluation. Who sings better? Who performs harder? Who draws more attention? These questions are asked not by the idols themselves but by the world around them, and eventually, even the strongest bonds strain under constant comparison. The fandom itself has become divided, and the divisions are sharp. Some fans take Jungkook's side with absolute loyalty, declaring that he deserves unchallenged recognition for his work. Others defend Jimin, claiming he is unfairly dragged into situations beyond his control. The battles play out online daily, sometimes with kindness but often with anger. Each argument deepens the lines, making reconciliation between fans as difficult as reconciliation between the idols they love. There is also the question of control. Are Jungkook and Jimin aware of the narratives being built around them? Almost certainly. Do they have the power to stop it? That is far less clear. Addressing the rumors directly could silence speculation, but could also fuel it further. Remaining silent avoids confrontation but allows the fire to burn unchecked. It is a no-win situation, one where every choice comes with consequences. Yet, despite the discomfort, fans cannot look away. The possibility of rivalry is addictive. It keeps people watching, analyzing, and waiting for the next clue. It turns concerts, appearances, and live broadcasts into investigative puzzles. Every new moment is another chance to prove or disprove the theory. And the longer the silence continues, the more valuable each clue becomes. In the end, the shocking question remains unanswered. Is there truly a rivalry hidden beneath the polished surface of Jungkook and Jimin's public personas? Or is this simply the story of a fandom so deeply invested that it cannot accept coincidence as truth? Until the silence is broken, the speculation will continue to grow, and the shadow of rivalry will remain impossible to escape. The shock lies not in confirmation, but in uncertainty. And that is why this story refuses to die. The silence surrounding Jungkook and Jimin has become the loudest sound in the fandom. What was once dismissed as baseless speculation has now turned into a full-blown narrative that refuses to fade. Each day without clarification fuels more doubt, more suspicion, and more questions. The shock does not come from any clear evidence of rivalry, but from the sheer weight of uncertainty that hangs in the air, suffocating fans who long for clarity. Every move Jungkook makes is dissected. Every smile Jimin gives is interpreted. The smallest interactions, or the absence of them, become magnified beyond reason. When Jungkook returns to Seoul, fans expect celebration, yet Jimin's name dominates the online conversation. When Jimin trends globally, questions arise. Why is Jungkook not mentioned in the same breath? These patterns have repeated enough times that they no longer feel like coincidence. They feel like a cycle, one that points toward a hidden fracture. The global media has played its part in intensifying this storm. Headlines scream about rivalry, articles highlight signs of tension, and social platforms ignite with theories. What was once a rumor whispered in corners of the internet has become mainstream conversation. The media thrives on shock, and this potential rivalry provides endless fuel. For readers, the story is irresistible: two beloved figures, locked in a silent conflict that may or may not exist, yet feels undeniably real. But what if the rivalry is not personal? What if it is structural? Jungkook and Jimin are both icons, but their careers, solo endeavors, and identities are constantly placed in comparison. Fans are asked to choose sides. Metrics, charts, and popularity rankings force a competition, even if the two men themselves never intended it. In this sense, rivalry is not born from animosity but from circumstance. Still, the outcome is the same. Endless tension, endless debate, endless shock. Observers note that the most powerful weapon in this controversy is absence. When Jungkook appears without Jimin, speculation begins. When Jimin shines without Jungkook nearby, the cycle continues. The world has grown so accustomed to seeing them together that separation feels unnatural, almost suspicious. That sense of dissonance fuels the narrative, leaving fans desperate for answers that never arrive. Emotions run high within the fandom. Some feel betrayed by the very idea of rivalry.